What's up, guys? It's McNulty here. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are all doing well, and I hope you are ready because we are looking at the Ice Heroes today, and we're going to have a look at the best of the best Ice Heroes in Empires and Puzzles for 2024. So I must say this list is long. There's 125 Ice Heroes, and there are some real standouts in this list. So again, it's been a super duper challenge trying to pick out the best of the best, but I think I've managed it. I think I've got it down to my top 10. So we are looking at a total of 125 Ice Heroes in here, and we're going to get started. We're just going to go through the rows one by one, and I'm going to pick out the heroes that I think are absolutely S tier heroes and heroes that will change your roster and enhance your hero roster to no end. So starting off with the top row, right in the left hand side, we're looking at Adelinda. She is probably, I think she was the first release out of the Monster Hunter Heroes, and I don't know what's happened to the Monster Island event. Somebody please tell me when that's coming around again. But she is still a great hero. I would say absolutely S tier. Defense down against 3, massive hit, and those fiends become really tricky to deal with. So Adelinda definitely makes the cut from the first row. Now, moving along, Aino. The new costume for Aino is fantastic. She's a great healer and cleanser. So I would say she is an S tier hero from the top row. And also Costume Alacy, with the increase in the stats that we've seen for the 2018 family and for the Legends heroes, she definitely makes the cut as well. Just that mana reduction is awesome. Alexandrine, not an S tier hero, but she's a good healer. And Alice, she was good at one point, but not any longer. That was many moons ago now, Alice. Now moving on into the second row, Amphitrite again just didn't really make the cut, to be honest. She's just a damage dealer, and she falls down in a few different areas. I don't know why she wasn't any good. She was one of the more recently released Styx heroes, but still just missed the mark for me. Anzia as well, very similar. She's a very new hero, but not that good. The counter attack just doesn't really make the cut. Ariel, on the other hand, even though she's an older hero, Costume Ariel is still one of the best healers in the game. Just fantastic cleanse and health boost if you do have the costume for Ariel. And then next to her, Costume Athena. Again, also a fantastic hero. She was recently featured in the Soul Exchange, and I'm a bit sad that I didn't manage to get her. I ended up going for Winifred instead, and no regrets, to be honest. But for 15 souls, she was an absolute steal because she just has a lot of versatility. Defense down against ice is really good, and regular defense down as well. So a good hero against Titans and good as part of an attacking team. So definitely an S tier hero for me. Atlantia and Azurite don't quite make the cut. They're a little bit finicky, although I like Azurite's mechanic. I think that he can, and we might see a little bit of a buff for him in future. Let's hope so. Now moving on to row 3, we are looking at Bubbles. I would say Bubbles is an S tier hero. Fast speed, hard hit, mindless attack, a shifting mindless attack. So I mean, what more could you want, really? So Bubbles is great. Camilla next to Bubbles, I would also put her as an S tier hero. While she doesn't do any direct damage, she does do a lot, and she is the queen of max health reduction, and she gets that supreme magic family or magic family passive with the negative mana stack. So really frustrating hero to deal with. Cao Cao, or Cao Cao, as he's supposed to be called. I recently watched the movie Dynasty Warriors, and he's in there, and I was just like, oh my god, I'm watching the Three Kingdoms heroes. This is so cool. But yeah, Cao Cao is a fantastic hero. I would say he is a bit limited to being really usable in the Rush format, but when Rush War comes around, if you have a copy of Cao Cao maxed, you're going to love using him. Those minions get out, they just take the buffs away, so you can deal with those nasty, horrible buffs from heroes like Ludwig. And when he gets going, he's a fantastic damage dealer as well. So I would say an S tier hero, but pretty limited in terms of the formats. Then Cell's a very new hero, and an interesting effect. And I thought Cell was going to be just a really tricky hero to deal with, but Cell really isn't. It's more of just delaying the inevitable when those minions go up, because you just got to hit them a couple of times, and then you're golden, or you just take a minion destroyer and you're golden as well. So Cell's a little bit too easy to deal with. Selamine, fantastic hero. I would say S tier as well. Bard family and deals a lot of damage. And yeah, just a really good hero, Selamine. And then moving on to the next row, there's some bangers in this row. So we've got Sito, who I am liking more and more from the Underwild, from the Untold Tales, the Nightmares of Atlantis. She's a great hero. Changi is a beast. I mean, facing Changi is like going up against the literal end of the world. You just want to. I mean, at some point in the battle, you realize that this chick is just controlling everything. And she is that good. She really is that good. She's just a fantastic hero. Just take a glance at a few of the top defenses. And that ether talent with the element reflect is frustrating as hell, because you really just want to get some ailments on her as quickly as possible to shut her down, but you can't. And if she goes off within 6 turns, which she will if she's a tank, then you're in for some trouble. So definitely S tier. Cinnamon, I would say yes, he's an S tier hero. He's got fantastic hit all and defense down against ice. Really good hero from the Pets family, but maybe the stats getting a little bit out of date compared to some of the other newer heroes. Cobalt is a great example of that. He's just fallen off no end. So yeah, he doesn't make the cut. Who else from this row? Esme's a really good fiend counter. If you don't have a fiend counter, I would say Esme's definitely in that in that niche of the game. She is S tier, but in other areas, probably not. Xera is probably the worst hero I've ever seen. Just get rid of her. Just don't bother. I mean, literally, just the worst hero I've ever seen. I don't know why they even bothered releasing her into the Underworld. And that's about it for that row. The next row, we've got Finley with the costume. Still for me an S tier hero. Just he hits and he can be underestimated. I mean, he's running at fast speed, and with the amount of buffs that there are in the game, including the ether talents, which count as a buff, he can be hitting all, giving defense down, a massive defense down to all, and now he gets a pretty decent amount of poison damage as well. I really love my costume Finley. I don't have any regrets with grabbing him from the Soul Exchange. Just a fantastic hero. Now, next to Finley, we've got Furman Richard, who's the weirdest little hero that I've ever seen in my life. And I don't know where he fits in. I think he's like the master of ceremonies or whatever for the Opera family heroes. But I really underestimated this little guy because he is just staunch. When I looked at him initially, I didn't think the attack boost was for the entire team and it stacks on top of himself. He's just a super hero, really, really good. And really easy to underestimate as well, Furman Richard. So fantastic S tier hero for me. And next to him as well, Fizz Coil, again, one of the newest heroes in the game. And you're seeing him in all of the top defenses. And he is there for a reason. He is just a fantastic hero. So definitely S tier for Fizz Coil as well. Fortuna, I think she's probably just made the cut with her recent buff that she's had recently in the last February balance update. So yeah, she is a fantastic hero. Gets the priority dispel, gets the fiends out, gets things going. She's just a really good hero and a pretty good all-rounder. Maybe not quite S tier. I'm thinking now as I'm talking about her, I'm probably going to take her down a rung. Let's say A plus for Fortuna, but definitely still one worth leveling if you do grab her. And then along to the end of the row, Galliard, whatever you want to call him, he was featured in the Soul Exchange at 20 souls, and I know quite a few people who picked him. And actually, he is really good. Number one is that obviously that gargoyle passive with the defense against poison, which comes in against heroes like Gigi, whatever her name is. And his resistance against fiends is really good as well. Because, I mean, when he throws that up, if you're going against a fiend summoner, you've protected your whole team against some potentially pretty devastating effects. And he does hit like a truck as well with the special skill boost for the first 6 turns. And then on the end of the row, we've got Gilak. I told you there's so many good heroes in Ice. It's just there's too many to pick from. So Gilak is just a little destructive maggot. I hate him, but I love him. He's just a great hero. The construct core makes his damage even harder. It makes him hit even harder than you think. And he can hit for a truckload of damage. He's just a fantastic hero. A lot of other effects going on with him as well. So definitely S tier for me for Gilak. And then the next row, we've got Gladius, Hero of the Month. Guardian Hippo. Just a superhero. I wish they would do something and buff her stats a little bit, but mine is level 90 and she holds out just fine. Just a great hero for pretty much all areas of the game, whether you're playing through towers, whether you're playing through map stages, whether you're going up in raids or in wars. Just so much versatility, and that really is what you would want from an S tier hero. So Guardian Hippo, absolute S tier for me. Now, moving along, let's see who else in the second row. I want to do this pretty quick because there are a lot to get through. I'm just going to take Guardian Hippo from that row. Himeros does have some usability, but I would say A+, not S tier. Jolt from the next row, fantastic hero running at very fast speed with that chain attack and the right class as well. Plus, she is a super elemental hero, so she spawns those annoying power gems, which I still can't get my head around. And actually, if you go up against a few heroes with those, they can do enough damage to get you right down to nothing pretty quickly before you've even realized it. Caballero, just a great hero. I do like him, but I don't think quite S tier because he is running at slow speed. And Kettle's the worst goblin, but that's saying something. Still some pretty decent effects going on there. And then I would say Krampus from this row. Still for me an S tier hero. I do like the fact that he gets the auto taunt, but I kind of wish it was on the costume version and not the non-costume version. I think they're missing a little bit of a trick there, but he's still a fantastic hero. And then right next to him, we've got the Lord Loki, the Lord of all Lords, the most value protected hero in the game. And I would say that with the introduction of his costume and the stat boosts for the Season 3 heroes, he is still one of the most value protected heroes in this game at the moment. So a fantastic hero, definitely S tier, Lord Loki with the costume. And then next row, Lysanor. Again, S tier. There's so many, like I said, like she is just the best, probably the best reviver in the game now. So for the rush format, there is no one better. Magni with the Toon costume, he's got a lot of versatility. He's got a decent amount of stats now and just received a boost as a buff as well. And this second costume for Magni, where he increases the damage against special skills, is just insane. I do have him as well, and I use him all the time. I love using him, pairing him up with Pengi, who you can see is just down there as well. But they definitely make a good team together. Now, Master Lepus. Master Lepus, I have a soft spot for. He was one of my first seasonal heroes that I pulled, and absolutely love him. Just his damage is huge, but he is very squishy, and he does give himself defense down. I'm not lucky enough to have the costume yet, but I think if I did, I'd definitely find a new spot for him. He definitely works really well on an attacking team. He can be usable on defense as well in a pinch, but I think just stats wise is where he's fallen behind the curve a little bit. And then moving along, we've got Mickey. at the second to last hero on the row. He is just an insanely good hero, a lot of usability in Rush Wars and against Titans as well, because he gets the silence and he boosts the attack of the entire team. Just a fantastic hero, definitely S tier Mickey. And Milady, what can we say about Milady de Winter? She's probably the scariest Rush War hero of all. Just a monster to go up and face. I mean, there is often no way to counter her once she gets going. If you let her get started, you're just going to be destroying yourself, basically. And she deals a buttload of damage as well. So, really good hero, Milady de Winter's S tier. Melina, another one I would put in the S tier without a shadow of a doubt. She is an older Magic family hero, but that super fast cleanse and that big hit on the second charge and the dispel just make her really versatile. So definitely she makes the cut. Miriam in Midnight was a fantastic hero on release, but not anymore. I do still use Miriam in Midnight. In fact, I've got a lot of these blue heroes, so I do know them pretty well. But I use Miriam in Midnight again with my Pengi team, and I team that team up with Miriam in Midnight, Mr. Pengi, and costume to Magni, and they do a lot of damage because obviously of the minions. But the great thing about Miriam and Midnight is that attack increase as well, works really well with the defense down. So she can be a versatile hero. She's got a heal as well. I would say A plus for Miriam and Midnight, but just losing out due to the nerf, unfortunately. Bring back Miriam and Midnight. I'm going to start a petition. Mr. Pengi, S tier for me. He's got a lot of versatility. He attacks really hard, works excellently in minion wars, and also an insane hero against the Mythic Titans if you've got two of him, which funnily enough I do as well. I feel like I'm summoning maybe a bit too much. Misty. So Misty's a great hero. She actually is very easy to underestimate, and I didn't really like her when I reviewed her. But going up against her, if you don't have any counters, she can reduce the health pretty quickly. So I would say A plus tier for Misty, not quite S tier. Morel was definitely one of the premier heroes at one point, and with the costume, I really like the costume because of the passive. So I'd say Morel with the costume, S tier. Morel without the costume, unfortunately not. And then the nine-headed beast, just the name says it all. I would say S tier hero all day long, and one of the coolest looking heroes in the game. Enough said. Just a great hero to play with. Actually, with nine-headed beast, I really do like it on attack, but on defense, I do find that it is easier to deal with the nine-headed beast, and there are a few pretty easy workarounds, so a little bit easier on defensive teams. But on attack, if you do have the nine-headed beast, just one of the most fun heroes to play with. So yeah, S tier for nine-headed beast. How many rows left have we got? Wow. Okay, so let's go a bit faster. So from this row, we've got Adet, definitely S tier for me, and Oni Wakamaru definitely makes the cut as well. Just a unique taunt hero, Oni Wakamaru, with the counter attack as well, and the fact that he gets it up at the ninja charge, so at very fast speed, is just awesome. Really useful, really great hero. And then moving along, Perseus. Costume Perseus is a brutal hero because he gives not only the biggest elemental defense down in the game, but he also completely makes it impossible to heal your heroes for 3 turns, I think. So yeah, just a great hero, definite S tier with the costume for Perseus. Quinn, the pineapple barbecuer, makes the S tier, a unique effect where he makes the enemies immune to buffs. Just a fantastic hero and makes it really great to be able to shut down the opposing team. Quinton, not quite S tier, I would say A plus because it's just fun to play with him. And then next row, I don't think there's too many from this row. I don't think there's any from this row that I would put in. Nah, none of those make the cut for me. And then third last row, we've got Satori, who is a monster, and I'm playing with him more and more now, and just figuring out the the reduction in damage coming to you at 1%, even though I feel like it doesn't trigger off quite as much as I'd like it to, can be amazing. And I think once I get him completely maxed, he's going to be a beast. And with the damage reduction ether talent, he's going to be even harder to work around. And he's received a load of buffs as well. So just a great hero, definitely S tier for me. Skadi with the costume. Skadi does have some usability in Minion Wars, but I would say A plus, not S tier. Sobek is fantastic. But again, I would say probably A. Maybe I'm gonna, go out on a limb here. I think Sobek is still an S tier hero. Just the fact that he hits so hard, gives the sand damage and bypasses, 100% bypass is awesome. Moving on, Sorrow, I would give her the S tier badge as well. Although she is a little bit more tricky to use and she can be a little bit squishy sometimes in certain circumstances, especially if you've got somebody who shuts down minions, any Lunar New Year heroes, or even Bira. You want to take her up against a team with Sorrow in, and you're not going to have to worry too much. And then Star Walker, just one of the newest heroes, obviously the Astral Elves, who we are going to be seeing released soon. Star Walker is a monster, just a great hero and fantastic in the Equalizer Wars, but also in all areas of the game. So yeah, he's taken over. He's taken a little bit of Morel and also a little bit of Erlang Shen, and they've just mixed it all together, and bang, now we have Star Walker. So there you go. Fantastic hero, S tier. The Lasser from this row, Suzuna's really good as well. Good hero of the month. I underestimated her a bit. But the Lasser, fantastic for me. I would say S tier, just better than Hathor in every way, but does exactly the same things. And then who else from this row? Oh man, we can't forget about Timaeus. Timaeus, one of the newer heroes in the game, and you'll see him littered around all of the top raid defenses, and he's there for a reason. That priority dispel, that massive hit, he's just a freaking monster. Even though he's a little owl, even though he doesn't seem like he's supposed to be the face of the owls, he is, and he is for a reason. So absolutely S tier for me, Timaeus. And then in the final row, we've got some monsters in here as well. Tinsel's fantastic, great defense down. Always underestimate Tinsel. Tremor is the king of the Rush War. I mean, not the Rush War. He's the king of the Equalizer War. I've seen teams with double Tremors in and Tremors and Erlangs, and it's just carnage when that when that Equalizer timer counts down and he just kills the whole team in one fell swoop. He's a great hero, not just in the Equalizer War, but mainly in the Equalizer War. So yeah, Tremor's definitely an S tier hero from these ones. And then Waterpipe with those minions. I love teams that work with mana. One of my favorite teams I use is one with Lady of the Lake to just chop the mana down bit by bit. And once you get these heroes going, they just can't come back, and it's really awesome. So yeah, Waterpipe is a fantastic hero, very frustrating, and an S tier hero, definitely. And that is going to be it from this row. I have had it. I have decided that we've named all of the best heroes in Empires and Puzzles, all of the S tier heroes from this list. So if I missed anybody out, please let me know if you think I missed some out. I'm sure I have, but those for me are the top heroes. So let's have a look. Without any further ado, we are going to count down the top 10 ice heroes in Empires and Puzzles of all time. So let's start. Let's go with number 10. Number 10 is my man Blue Loki. As I said, the reason he is here is because he is, to me, the most value protected hero in the game. He's got that stat boost now, so he's definitely able to be boosted up. And the way he works, if you don't have him, is he is every single hero in the game all rolled into one. He can copy any of these monsters that I've just mentioned throughout this list, especially when it comes to heroes that are running at average speed or slower. He's going to be just as good. He's copying the exact same special skill as they've got, and in this version, in addition to that, he has an extra part of his skill where he copies all dispellable buffs from the target as well. So he's just adding a little bit extra on top of an already incredible special skill. And that is why Blue Loki makes my number 10 spot. Now, moving on, number 9, Milady de Winter, the queen of the Rush War, and just a freaking awesome hero. She looks insane. She gets that family bonus, the cover, which is one of the best family bonuses out, and she deals 385% damage to all enemies, which is a huge hit. She protects herself with health generation, and all enemies then reflect dispellable status effect buffs, and they reflect cleansable status ailments they would receive to a random character or allies, and it lasts for 6 turns. And if you don't, you can't get rid of it. It's just really, really frustrating. And there are a couple of counters, but they're very tricky. So, and you have to plan it right. So, yeah, as far as, usability and fun factor, you can't get any better than Milady de Winter. And that's why she is at my number 9 spot. Now, let's move on. Number 8 is Guardian Hippo. Not so long ago, she'd probably be number 1, but she is in at number 8 on this list. Just an awesome hero with versatility galore. She can be used in all areas, as I said. She unlocks the towers like no other hero ever. I mean, I know how frustrating towers were for me before I got Guardian Hippo. After I got Guardian Hippo, they're an absolute breeze, and I'm into the top 1,000 without even trying. So it's just a fantastic way to burn through levels as quickly as possible. And she makes a really great defensive and offensive hero as well. So enough said, Guardian Hippo is my number 8. Now moving on. Number 7, my man Satori. I mean, he's been eating all of those sausage rolls. He's been beefing up, and he deserves this spot. He is a fantastic hero, one of our newer heroes, and I feel like I've talked a heck of a lot about Satori, both in the review and in the hero balance update, and now because he's on the list as well. But he deserves to be talked about because he is insane. He deals a boatload of damage. He reduces received damage to 1 for himself and nearby, and if you dispel the effect, it dispels the buffs from all the enemies, and he gets the most passives we have ever seen in the world ever. So he's a fantastic hero, and he makes my number 7 spot. Number 6 is Starwalker. So I think there might be a few who don't like this, that he's or she's so low down the list. I think Starwalker actually is a she, but I don't know. But for some reason, I can't put Starwalker any higher because I feel like the top 5 spots are just better. So this is where Starwalker's coming in. Great passives, great family bonus, and the special skill with that damage. So 200% damage to all enemies, 450 extra damage if the targets have boosted health, so takes care of the boosted health right away, then gives the negative defense for 3 turns, 35%, and if the effect gets removed before the duration ends, then deals 551 damage to all targets with the effect as well. So just a great all-rounder and a fantastic hero. Definitely deserves number 6, if not higher, but I don't have enough room on the list, sorry. So moving on. Number 5 is Gilak. Just the littlest, most easy to underestimate little hero. Just doesn't look like he's going to be doing anything special, but he is literally summoning a star. It's a star construct, like an undying star, whatever the hell you want to call it. But that star is pretty powerful. He deals a massive amount of damage to the target and nearby. The construct core adds to his damage. He summons a fiend at the same time. The fiend steals mana generation from the target and nearby, and the effect lasts as long as they've got the fiend. So it's just stealing mana. It's giving him extra boost, is charging his core at the same time. He gets the Jinx, which gets him the chance to deal extra damage. So don't underestimate Gilak. He's a fantastic hero, and he makes my number 5. Now moving on to number 4. this little guy as well. So we've got a couple of shorties in the top five. Furman Richard is just, I mean, just take a second to appreciate how understated this special skill actually is. I mean, it is three lines, just three lines, and he's just an insane hero. So, first of all, he's running at very fast speed. He deals 175% damage to all enemies. So, that's really not much, is it? But then the stack starts. All allies get 20% attack and all allies get 20% defense. And that can stack up to a maximum of 10. So just think about how much additional attack and defense is going to be going on with this little guy running at very fast speed. On the flank position, he is just boosting the attack and defense of every single other hero on the team, including himself. And he's firing off and he's firing off and he's getting stronger and stronger every single turn. And he is my number 4 pick. I've seen him popping up all over the place, and he's going to be a very, very tricky hero and a unique hero amongst the other heroes that we've got in that portal as well. Now, moving on, we're into the top 3 now. So number 3 is Changi. I mean, she probably, again, all of these heroes just deserve to be number 1. They are that good. But Changi is just amazing. And I would say she's probably one of the more frustrating tanks that I've faced. I would put her up in Luna category. I said Luna just for clarity. But yeah, I would put her up in that sort of realm. She's just frustrating as hell. So she deals a massive amount of damage to all enemies, and then she makes it so that all enemies can't cast any new status effects for 4 turns, status effects on enemies or on allies for 4 turns. So they can't cast any buffs, they can't cast any ailments, they can't make it so that your team is going to feel any detriment other than direct damage. And the second bit is that she gives all of her allies 45% defense against special skills for 4 turns. So all they can receive is raw damage, and she's putting an additional shield of 45% defense up right away. And those passives are just insane as well. So Changi makes my number 3 spot. Now, moving on, we are 2 heroes left. So let's see if at this point you're going to be able to guess who I've put in 2 and who I've put in 1. I bet you can't. Did you get it? Okay. Number 2 is Fizz Coil. Fizz Coil is our newest one of, I'm gonna say no, because we got Pepper Flame as well. So Fizz Coil's one of the newest goblins, but he's also one of the best. Because in fact, I'm gonna say it, he's probably my favorite goblin, the one that I would most want to have at the moment. He's just dealing that damage to all enemies. He's running at fast speed, and then the wither effect is so strong, especially on attack, but also on defense. He's decreasing the defense and attack of the enemy every single time he fires off. It's just a compound effect, and I think a lot of these heroes have compound effects, and that's why they're so strong. All enemies also get the reduced mana generation for 3 turns, and again, I mean, even in the equalizer format, he's really good, because if the effect's removed before the duration ends, the mana of the target with the effect is reduced by 5%. So he's got the best of everything going on. The damage to all, the reduction, the wither effect, the negative mana generation, and the fact that you don't want to dispel that or cleanse that because you're going to reduce your mana by 5%. And it doesn't matter that it's only 5%, because 5% is enough to go from a full charge to needing an extra tile. And that is what it's all about in this game. That one extra tile is what will kill you. And that's what makes it such a great game. Super frustrating sometimes, but also just the most amazing and fun game to play, with the most fun bunch of people in the world. So moving on, number 1, the big boy. Not really, but he is. Timaeus. This is my number 1 pick for the Ice Heroes in the legendary category. He's the best ice hero in the game at the moment, hands down. You know, I might take some flack for this, but I really don't care. He's just that good. He is of the right class. He's got banging stats, and his special skill is superb. The priority dispel from the target and nearby at fast speed, and then that moonrise strike. I don't know why, but for some reason he seems to have like the strongest one, even though he's running at fast speed. And he has this grudge against holy heroes, which just makes him even the more powerful, but it's not the main part of it. But the fact that the target and nearby are immune to new status effect buffs for 3 turns also makes it so that nobody can come back from that. I mean, just to put it into perspective, it doesn't sound like that amazing of a special, but the fact that he has a priority dispel means that he can get rid of the buffs and then grant the immunity to new buffs. And the order of that is super important. Getting rid of the buffs and giving immunity to new buffs is what makes him such a powerful hero. So Timaeus, in my mind, and he deserves the #1 spot. And that is my top pick for the Ice Heroes. So this list wouldn't be complete without mentioning the new blood. As we did for the Dark Element, we have a absolute monster of a hero and just a great hero, as in Nautica, and she is a force to be reckoned with. In fact, in my video about Nautica, I did say that I didn't think that she would make it as a tank, but I've since seen her as a tank, and she is brutal. I mean, just put her next to 2 heroes and they're going to be firing off just consistently. Every time she fires, she heals everybody, she boosts everyone's health, and then she gives the she just grants nearby allies a massive amount of mana, 33%, and it just makes her an insanely good hero, very good support, just a great all-rounder. So I think that if she was released before this list was made, she would probably be making the top 10. Not sure where I'd put her, but I'd try and fit her in somewhere. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. That is it for the top 10 ice heroes in Empires and Puzzles. Hopefully you guys agree. If not, then please let me know in the comments. And if so, let me know in the comments as well. Let me know who you think I've missed out from this list. If you think anybody else should be included in the top 10, I'll pop it in the comments if I think that they make the cut. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Please do drop us a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you all again in the next video. Bye for now.